Researchers at Case Western Reserve University wanted to see what religious perceptions do to those who believe that they have a porn addiction. And it turns out that the more religious you are, the more likely you are to believe you have a porn addiction, even if you've looked at porn once. So, according to the researcher who did this, we were surprised that the amount of viewing did not impact the perception of addiction, but strong moral beliefs did. Okay, so if you're not religious and you're like watching porn every day and you're like, yeah, I love this is great, right? You don't think you have a porn addiction. But if you are religious, you're much more likely to think you have a porn addiction, even if you've only viewed porn like a few times in your entire life.
Okay, so I love this story, but I now think that I like your description of people watching porn even more. Like, who goes, yeah, here I go, yeah! Like, is that what people do? Okay, so now, I love that the people that are affected most are the religious, of course, as you pointed out. Unfortunately, it's non-straight people, that's a funny way of putting it, gay people, though that's just the phrase that they used. Gay people are more likely to have issues if they're religious. If they're not religious, then they don't have any issues.
Yeah, so let me jump in. We'll get to all of that, okay? There are some details here that I want to hash out with you guys.
Okay.
So first of all, let's look at the demographics. Let's look at what the researchers were working with. So they looked at people who were viewing porn over a 6-month period of time. 25% viewed porn 1 to 3 times, 13% had viewed porn 4 to 6 times, and 8% had viewed porn 7 to 9 times. The rest had viewed porn 10 or more times in the last 6 months. Now, men tended to report greater moral disapproval than women for viewing online pornography, which was surprising to me.
It's actually not that surprising to me, because if you catch your girlfriend watching porn, you think, score, right? If she catches you watching porn, that is, what's wrong with you? Now, look, not every time, obviously it's general stereotypes, etc., right? But it's far more likely that men will have people judging them for pornography, whereas guys, if their girlfriends are into it, are thinking, yes!
Okay, so I interpreted that statement incorrectly. I thought that it was, women are less likely to disapprove of their own porn viewing than men disapprove.
No, I actually, I'm with you, but I think that people's reactions to them is getting into their own heads. So a guy is worried, I'm being immoral because everybody tells me it's such a bad thing to do. And nobody's bothering to tell women that it's a bad thing to do because we're kind of into it.
Well, no, I think it's because there's an assumption that women don't watch porn.
Right, that's a huge part of it too. That's right.
So here's another thing that the study found. The study found that more people reporting a porn addiction were men with non-heterosexual orientation and a high libido.
That's how they put it. Yes. Non-heterosexual orientation.
Yes.
Because those are the religious guys who are told being gay is wrong, but they can't help themselves, especially if they have a high libido. But it's natural human nature, of course, to be like, okay, let me check out the kind of sex that I'm into. And then they feel so guilty. And then they're like, I must be a porn addict.
Yeah.
No, you're a regular human being. That's what you are.
So one other finding from the study that was so fascinating, more than 1,200 books have been written about pornography addiction, and they've been listed on Amazon.com, listed under religious or spirituality section. So basically, people who have a religious agenda are writing the majority of these books on porn addiction, which, by the way, another study says isn't really an addiction, isn't really an issue that needs to be dealt with.
So that was also super interesting. Yeah. And both studies agree that actually the more religious you are, the more you think you have a porn addiction. But the other study proves that there's actually no such thing as porn addiction.
And before we get to that, I just want to make a really quick point about religion in general. So obviously this is about porn, but I think that religion usually makes people feel guilty about most natural things that they go through or feel, right? So if you want to go partying with your friends, if you want to have premarital sex, if you want to, I don't know, what else is natural and normal? If you're gay, right, and you decide to have a same-sex relationship, those are all things that you shouldn't feel guilty or bad about, but religion makes you feel guilty and bad about it. If you're Muslim and you decide you want to eat pork, you'll feel guilty and bad about it.
You know, let me just say 2 quick things from my experience on this. Number one, ever since I used to be religious and now I'm not, right? I'm agnostic. And ever since, I feel so much better. You don't have to worry about all this BS guilt. God, religion weighs you down with so much guilt over perfectly normal stuff. And you feel free as a feather once you get rid of that nonsense. And point number 2 is, what's interesting is that I didn't stop feeling guilt about things that I should feel guilty about. If you did something wrong against someone else, I continue to feel guilty about that, not because I fear Allah or God or Jesus Christ or anyone else, but because it's the wrong thing to do.
Right.
But about the stuff that doesn't harm anyone else, no guilty feelings at all, because you shouldn't have them.